Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Thursday, the September the 5th. Yeah, September the 5th. Um, so I think it's the 5th. Yeah. So this morning I'm getting ready to go to work, right? And I usually look at Church in the Wilderness. I was looking at some of her videos, and she touched on the subject again about marriage. And I was just like, let me listen to this. So I'm sitting up here and I'm listening to her dreams and everything and what, God has shown her. And it was a really good dream. It was basically, I think she said it was like a person had like a pile of dirt because he was remarried. But when he divorced the person that he remarried, not remarried, but his second wife, the dirt just vanished or something like that. I gotta listen to her dream again. So I was sitting up there and I was thinking, like, you know what? I'm not glad, but I'm like, you know what? I don't have anything else to say about the subject because God didn't give me a dream. And then I realized I had a dream about marriage last night or this morning. So let me tell you what the dream was. The dream was there was a married couple. This looked like a white couple or something like that. It was a married couple. The husband divorced his wife. He divorced his wife, and then he remarried her. Like, he came back and he remarried her. And they were both like going somewhere. Like, I felt like, he looked like a regular person, but I felt like them together, how can I say it? I wouldn't say they was like some 007 type stuff, but I felt like them being together, they were in sync. But I remember, like, it was like as if I was looking at them, like as if I was a third wheel, but I'm in the back, and I was observing them. His wife looked like she stumbled, like she was about to stumble, and he hurried up and picked her up, like as if he was just trying to make sure that she wouldn't fall. And right then and there in the dream, while I was observing them and I was walking with them, but I was in back, I realized he loves his wife. He really loves his wife. She had a bonnet on, I remember. I didn't see her face. I saw a side profile of him. But he divorced his wife, and he came back and he remarried her. And they were like on a mission. And when his wife looked like she was about to fall, he hurried up and came and he picked her up. And I was like, he loves his wife. He loves his wife. That's what I said in the dream. Then it switched and we was in McDonald's and something happened where I don't know, it was real crazy. But anyway, when I woke up from the dream, I just started thinking about that. I just started thinking like, I really wasn't putting two and two together. So when I was listening to Church in the Wilderness, I was listening to her dream, I was all like, I don't got nothing to say about marriage. I think I already exhausted the subject. That's how I felt. Like, I already exhausted the subject. I'm not even going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. But in the dream, and another thing too, when he divorced his wife, looking back at that dream, when he divorced her, she remained. She didn't go anywhere. She was just right there. And when he came back and he remarried his wife, they just started going and sing. I wouldn't say it was like they were both on a mission. And when she stumbled, he picked her up. It's something significant about that part of her, because when he did that, I said, oh, he really loves her. He loves his wife. So I never questioned what the heck was wrong with you. Why would you divorce your wife? I never questioned any of that in a dream. I had to beat my horn. But anyway, so it was, and then so I woke up this morning getting ready for work, and I saw a church in the wood. I saw her dream, and she mentioned something about marriage, and I realized, I'm like, well, I'm not gonna touch that because God didn't give me, and I realized I had a dream about marriage. Now, y'all know I had a dream not too long ago about my husband, and how I wanted to be intimate with him. And he, in a dream, he was like, no. And I was just like, you know what? I got to go to work. And so when I woke up from that dream, I felt some type of way. I felt like, you know what? I'm rejected in real life by my husband. And in my dream, I'm rejected. Like, I was like, I don't even want to touch it. But I think the Lord was telling me, Mona, is not to focus on the intimate part of certain things. And let me tell you why, because I never said this. First of all, being celibate, single, and just not even dating is a very hard thing to do, especially if you are a put away wife or your husband gave you a bill of divorce. Okay, I had one of you ladies say, don't dare say that you're married, because people, but the truth of the matter, in God, I am still married. I am still married. And I know some people are like, don't say that, because this may mess up your chances if you decide to jump out of the box and sin, because that's what it is. But I was thinking the other day, like, man, I'm 36 now. Like, what the heck, man? I'm going to be, like, up into my 60s, like, single by myself, like, what's up? Well, I mean, but then it's one of those things like, well, I thank God that I have my daughter, and I really feel for those who got married and their husbands left and you don't even have any children. You know what I mean? You don't even have any children. But Jesus said that he causes her to commit adultery. And if he puts her away and remarry, he has committed adultery against her. And any woman who puts away her husband and remarry, she has committed adultery against him. Marriage is not designed for divorce. It's not. Now, in the dream, and in this particular dream, I saw a unit. I saw a wife who had been put away, and I saw a husband who came back to his wife, and I saw that he loved his wife. There, when she stumbled and he went to grab her, I said, he loves her. He loves her. And I was observing this. I was observing him. What I remember, he had on jeans, and he had on like it was something about that shirt he had on. It looked like a regular type of shirt. But I remember they were both walking. But when he divorced her, she was always there. Like, when he came back, she wasn't with someone else. She wasn't with anyone else. That's what I saw in the dream. But it wasn't like as if I pointed those things out in the dream. When I woke up from the dream, she didn't go anywhere. She didn't go anywhere. Am I saying that, well, Jesus says this, that if your husband does put you away, that you remain unmarried unless you reconcile with your husband, because you're supposed to, and you are one with your husband. You are one with your husband. And so, going back to the dream that I had a couple of weeks ago about the intimacy with my husband. See, what I didn't tell people is that, I didn't tell the whole world, is that, I started to do this thing where if I can't lust after another man, I can't be like, oh, I want to be with him and in his bed and woo, woo, woo. Because when I do that, in my heart, I've committed adultery just by lusting after this man. So I figured, well, you know what? I can imagine myself if I'm kissing my husband, the man that I married, right? And this is not like an everyday thing, like once in a blue moon. You know what I mean? I'm like, there's no harm in that, right? Because how can a wife lust after her own husband when she's already one with him? But I think the Lord was showing me in the dream that no, Mona, it's it, I think he was showing me don't even have that thought of even in with your husband. And which I was like, well, Lord, you know, when I woke up from the dream, I'm already pissed because, like I said, and I'm just being very transparent, how is it that I get rejected in real life and in my own daggone dreams my husband carries me? I can't. You know, but the Lord was just telling me, like, even with my mind, not that I was thinking dirty about my ex-husband, just to not focus on that aspect of it either. You know, and I was just like, okay, fine. So I kind of felt like, you know, as a woman, that intimate part, excuse me, y'all know I got that Bell palsy mess. The intimate part of my life has been shut off, you know. It's been shut off. I remember the other day I was off and I wasn't feeling good. And I really was just sitting on the couch and I was like, you know what? It'll be really nice for me to just lay my head on my husband's lap. Because I remember when we were married, I used to just lay my head on his lap and his hands were kind of cool to the touch and he would just do all of this to my head or whatever. But it was very relaxing to me because I think I had a headache at that time. So I don't know if the Lord, I just feel like the Lord was just like, don't think in that aspect either. Because I'm like, you know what? I can dream. You know how it is when you're in a relationship and if you break up, you're just like, okay, it happened in reality. But maybe in my dreams, we can be like this, that, and the third. God was just showing me like, you know, not to even focus on that right there. So I'm like, okay. And so it's funny because I was sitting up here and I was just, you know, I was talking to my cousin and she's like, you know, a lot of people go through things and they don't ask for judgment. Like, ask God for judgment. And I was like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna ask for judgment because of all of these things that happened to me, what my husband did to me, what my in-laws did to me, how everybody, including the attorneys, and yeah, Lord, I want judgment. And then I thought about that judgment. Everybody gonna be judged, but Mona, you gonna be judged too. I'm like, Lord, how am I gonna be judged? Because you did yapping off in the mouth. It's not like as if you held so much respect for your husband because the whole time you was just straight flowing on him. That's true. And when we were in court, we fought, man. Like we brought our guns up in there. And when I mean by guns, y'all know I'm saying that like it's expressional. We fought dirty in court. Court turns a husband and a wife against each other. It doesn't matter who's telling the truth or who not. It's all about who can take who down. And it was ugly. It was really, really ugly. So anyway, going back to this dream, I saw this man and this man divorced his wife. He divorced her. But then he remarried her. And I can see that he loved her. He loved her dearly. Dearly. Sometimes, you know what, people go through certain things in life that they realize, I guess, after what they had. You know what I mean? I don't know in my situation if that would ever be. Or if my ex-husband, if my husband, and I can't even say, if my husband would ever come back or ever apologize. I don't know. He's chosen a path. And he has he had a choice. He had a choice. But the hurtful thing about marriage, and I've read many forums and I've read many people put their comments down. I remember reading a comment and a lady was like, oh God, somebody please pray for me. My husband is divorcing me. And I was just, I kind of like, because the way how she made it so, oh gosh, like the world is coming to an end, it wasn't funny. Because I understand that fear, because when your husband or your wife gives you a bill of divorce, You got to understand that this thing is not only going to affect you, it's going to affect your life. It's going to affect your life. That doesn't mean that you can't live. No, you still have a life, but it is going to affect you. Because what people need to understand, when you get married, you are bound to your spouse until they die. So what you do, if that person leaves you, it's like it's if you're in sync. Once you get married, first of all, you were both two individual people, okay? Once you get married, God has done something that you're in sync. So when that other person gives you this bill of divorce, they're all over here and you're still in sync. Because God didn't, and God showed me this morning. You went before God to get married. You know what I mean? When you said I do in this land right here, whether you were in church, whether you went before the justice of peace, you went before God. You know, and majority of y'all had a Bible. You know what I'm saying? Had scriptures. Some of y'all even took the sand and merged the sand together. And now you're like, we're divorced. Well, which side of the sand belongs to you? You know what I mean? But God did something in the spiritual realm that you didn't even see. So you wonder why this second relationship, this second marriage, this third, fourth, fifth marriage didn't work, because you still bound to your first husband. You're still bound to your first husband. So, you know, people really need to think very hard if marriage is for them, because now it's over 50% of the divorce right now. You got a lot of the people that's not even getting married, because it's so serious that if your spouse leaves, you're still bound to that spouse. And if you have a spouse who has hardened their heart, it's gonna be heck for you, because you are trying so bad not to jump out of that box and not to sin. You're trying so hard, but this is another thing too, for the one who left. The sin that your spouse does, it goes on your hands. And I know you're like, wait. No, it does. Because, see, God knows my heart. God knows I am trying, Lord. I haven't been out here. I haven't been dating. I haven't been sleeping. I haven't been out here doing any of those things, right? God knows my heart. He knows my struggle, right? He knows what I'm dealing with. You got to remember that when David, who was a Sheba, when he saw that woman bathing, he wanted her. He was a king, but he wanted somebody else's wife. He wanted them so bad that he put a hit out on her husband just so he can be with her. And then when he did that, he acted like nothing happened. This is a king that wanted somebody else, something that didn't belong to him, that the king had to set up somebody who was so loyal to him just so he can have that. Some of you men and women have no idea the precious jewels that you have, and you freely let it roam out there on its own. And so you know, people need to be very careful, because in this day and light right now, in 2018 going forward, people don't know how to commit. People get married one day and the next day they divorce. But God showed me something today when I was in the room. It's funny how you go before God and ask him to join you together, and he does. But when it comes to a divorce, you don't go to God. You go before a man to ask him to give you a piece of paper. That piece of paper does not have anything to do with the simple fact that when you went before the church, your congregation, and the justice of the peace, I don't care if it was in the backyard, you said, I do. And what you did was you traded your queen and you traded your king in for nothing. And now you're dealing with the repercussions, not just your sin, but the sin that you caused her and him to do. You caused that. You caused your wife to marry another, and now she is sinning and the man who is with her is sinning. You caused that. You also caused those children to come out of her that did not belong to her. You caused that. So it was just like, I mean, God was just showing me this, like, you don't see man go before God and say, hey Lord, I know we said to death do us part, but could you break this up? Because you can't. Because God is not, when God says what he's joined together, let no man separate. No man meaning you, your daddy, the attorneys, your in-laws, your sister, your friends. No man, including yourself. Man, you cannot undo something that God has done. And it's not easy. It's not freaking easy to sit up here and say, I'm going to be celibate and I'm not going to date, because temptation is a mug. You got some women out here that's just like, man, I need somebody to love me. I need somebody to say something to me. You know, in my case, it's like out of sight, out of mind. You can't miss what you don't have. You know what I mean? You can't miss. And then I find myself making sure I don't give a man too long of the eye contact. I walk past him. He may say something next, hey, hi, bye, because I know where it can lead to. I don't want to deal with that sin. I don't want to deal with that sin. I don't. I may have a lot of issues right now, but adultery ain't one of them. It's just not. But it's so amazing how the wife can be very, and I'm not going to say, you got different cases here. You got some women out here that'll hurry up and write a bill of divorce. And then later on be crying the blues and realize you had a good husband. And not only did you drive him away from you, but you also drove him away from God. See, the ultimate thing is that my husband knows that he has a wife out here who loves him and still to this day prays for him. But it's not that he's turned his back on me. You turned your back on God. And that's something that you're going to have to deal with. You feel like you chose your father over your wife, but the truth of the matter is that you chose your father over God. Over God. That's why y'all got to be very careful of who you marry. And anybody who is in disagreements with this, how can you be in disagreements with this? When you two one day will get married, and you two will one day want your spouse to uphold those vows and understand the covenant, and everybody around it needs to respect it. We need to respect the simple fact that this is a married man and a woman. And this is the second. Matter of fact, yesterday, I think I said I had a dream of a married couple, and they were an interracial couple. It was a black woman, and it was the white man. And I remember the black woman, she had a brother, and they were very nice people. In a sense, they kind of remind me of my sister-in-law and her husband. I mean, she's not black or anything like that, but for some odd reason I felt like that, and I knew they were moving and I knew they were going somewhere. But I had that marriage dream, and every time when I see a married couple in my dream, I'm always looking at them as, oh, they look so cute together. Oh, they look so nice together. You know what I'm saying? Us as a community, we should be able to look at married folks and say, look how beautiful that is. Not just on their wedding day. But you got these thoughts out here. You got these daggone covenants, so-called trying to be breakers, that will go up in these households. And the whole thing that they're doing, they're Decepticons. You're coaching this man to get rid of his wife. You're coaching this wife to get rid of her husband. Every time that I've ever spoke to a married couple, whether it be a wife or a husband, it is always in the will of what God would say. Go back to your wife. Work it out with your husband. Pray for your husband. You don't seek counsel from people who want you to break up a covenant that God said what he has joined, let no man separate. You cannot remarry under those same oaths and vows and words. You cannot. Can a man be born twice? Can he be born twice unless he be born in Jesus? But can he come through the canal twice? They want what they have, so it's messed up. Yeah, they want what you have. But the other spouse have to be down. A house that's divided is not going to stand. So when your husband says, come on, let's go. Go. You don't want to turn around and turn into a pillar of salt like Lot's wife, because you were so disobedient and you didn't listen to your husband. Same vice versa for the husband who says to his wife, come. Don't say, I'm not, don't do it. Because that's just the one end for the enemy to come in. Y'all give y'all lust over to one night of passion, and it ruins everything. It ruins everything. The Bible talks about a man who is pissed off when he finds out that his wife has been sleeping around. Somebody touched his wife. And also too, what I saw a vision how sacred marriage is. It's just like when God said, do not touch this. It is forbidden. And when they touched that, and when they ate of that fruit, that curse came upon them. That's how marriage is. Don't touch another man's wife. Don't touch another woman's husband. He does not belong to you and will never belong to you. It don't even matter if you've been with him for 60 freaking years. If he took a covenant with the first one, you're having an orgy with him and his wife while she's not even there. Most people don't want to listen to it because it hurts their feelings, because they would much rather live in this fabricated lie that they made up in their minds that this is the right one. This is the right one. You know, it's one of those things where it is what it is. You know, I ask God daily, you know, I pray, Father, lead me not into temptation. Please don't lead us with a six-pack. You know what I'm saying? Don't lead me. Please, Lord, deliver me from sin. I want to make a left before I make a right. I don't know what my ex-husband, what my husband is doing right now. He could be shacked up with somebody else. He could have kids on the way. Oh, you know, that's something that he's going to be held responsible for. Everything he do, including what I do. He better be glad that you got a praying wife out here. He better be glad. Because if I was one of those, like, hey, Lord, he did it, so, hey, I'm going to do me. You know what I mean? So, it is what it is. It is. But, you know, yesterday, I was on YouTube when it was talking about STDs is on the rise. People are dying at rapid rates. You know, one night of passion got you caught up, and now you on your deathbed, whether you not like it or not, because you went ahead and cheated on your wife. Now you're dying. Oh, she by your deathbed, but she waiting. She's waiting, because when it's time for you to go, she's released to go ahead and be remarried. Now that was your sin. That was your sin. You know what I mean? You went out there and you had a praying wife that was there, but you decided to follow your boy straight to hell, and now you dealing with the repercussions of things. You know, the doctor done told you you only got this long to live, and you trying, and she's like, she about to be widowed and free to be remarried. The wages of sin is death. It's the same thing to you. You thought your husband wasn't going to find out, and they had no idea that the condom that slipped off with this random man. And now here you are. Oh, you thought he wasn't going to find out. Now you 9 months pregnant with not even his child. The wages of sin is death. Why? You know, I think at this age, when you start getting old, 36 years old, I'm too old to be sitting up here trying to figure things out. I'm trying to figure things out, but I realized in my teens and in my 20s, that sin didn't work for me. So I don't want to I don't want to deal with it. So I shut it off. I don't even look at sex scenes on the movies or commercials. Because I don't want anything to tempt me. I don't want to be tainted, tempted, or corrupted by this nastiness out here. And so anyway, when I was looking at this STD thing is on the rise, all types of crap, I'm like, ooh, it's a good thing I'm celibate. It's a good thing I'm not dealing with those type of things. I can honestly say Ramona is not corrupt over here. You know what I mean? I can honestly say that. That's one sin that I'm not dealing with. But the woman who steps out because her husband and put her away and she's searching for love in the wrong places and then found it in the gutter, and now she's taking antibiotics and all types of whatever just to do it, he gonna deal with that sin. God is gonna look at you. Caused her to do that. You caused her to do that. But see, in my case, y'all know, see, my husband got a little issues. You know, he got a little bit of issues. And so I feel that, in a sense, God may hold me a little responsible because of his disability. If you've been following me, you know what I'm talking about. But it's horrible to the man who knows that his wife is faithful, and yet and still you throw her to the ground so the bus can run over her so you can go out and do your dirt. What king was it who didn't like his wife, so he got her head chopped off so he can marry another one? It was a man on the news not too long ago. He acted like he was crying and boo-hooing, looking for his wife. I think she was a teacher and she was pregnant. Whole time homeboy was cheating, then lured his wife, the woman who loved you, who buried your children, then lured her into a place to shoot her, bury her, so he can be with somebody else. Because he knew. But if you think that God wasn't going to hold you responsible for that, and that he was going to overlook, you're supposed to protect your wife. Now, in the dream, when I saw that this man, I knew he divorced her, but he came back and he remarried her. And they were going together, and when she stumbled, he ran over and picked her up. And I said, he loves her. He loves her. I remember when I got married, my limo was running behind, and I believe God did it on purpose, because the pastor didn't even show up. That the pastor thought we were getting married that I don't know, I think he thought we were getting married the following day. And my husband called and said, where are y'all? And they, with the story that came, they jumped out and was like, we don't care, we on our way, is the bride there? And they was like, no, the bride isn't there yet. And they didn't even know all of that was going on. And I'm crying because I'm like, my limo's late. I'm crying and crying and crying and crying. And the whole time my husband waited for me at the altar. He waited there. He freaking waited. And my mother said, somebody said to her, he will wait forever. And that stuck to me. And so when I saw the dream where the man picked his wife up, I said, oh, he really loves her. He really loves her. Do I think that the dream reflect me and my situation? I don't know. But what I do know is that he left his wife and he remarried her. She did not get remarried. She didn't. And you felt like what changed in our life, I stopped praying for my husband. Well, you know what? Continue on praying. Continue on praying for your husband. I'm not gonna lie, like after that, going through court and stuff and fighting my husband blow to blow, I ain't gonna lie, I stopped praying for him too. And then it was dawned on me, you know, the Lord was like, you need to continue on praying for him. And it's funny because I'm teaching our daughter to pray. So when we pray, we, ask God for protection, forgive us for our sins. We pray for our family, and we also pray for her daddy. We pray for him. Who do you think is praying for him? Nobody needs that. Somebody need to have his back. Maybe, who knows? Maybe my husband is praying for me. Maybe he's praying for me. Maybe not. I don't know. All I can do at the end of the day is say, Lord, I tried to be a good wife. I honestly think that the Lord is probably like, but your mouth when it comes to you talking about your husband, it could have been better, Mona. I mean, I know that Matt did you wrong and everything, but you straight when you flowed on him. And I can see my excuse, but Lord, look what he did to me. But I think that's one thing that the Lord will be disappointed about me, is that I talked about my husband like a dog. I did. After, and look, I'm even making an excuse after he did those bad things to me. But still, at the end of the day, you're not supposed to do that. You know what I mean? You're not supposed to do that. So you continue, and it's something that you say that you felt like things changed when you stopped praying with your husband. But see, look at conviction. Look how God showed you those things. It's never too late. Look, as long as you still got breath on this earth, it's never too late to reconcile with your husband or your wife. It may not be like how it used to be, but just to have that respect for one another. You know what I mean? Just to understand, like, it is what it is. But when you go and you ignore and you try to have this make-believe whatever with someone else, knowing that you're still in covenant with your first spouse, you cannot do that. Bishops, people that get up here and remarrying other people. Now, I said it before in the last video that the main cause of divorce were these judges who granted, but it's the pastors already bound to the spouse. How can you remarry something that's already... Yes, spiritual STDs are so real and just as worse as physical STDs. It is. You lay down with somebody and you wondering why no, not me. You realize your husband was a piece of cake. And some people say, well, I'm in my second marriage and I've been happy for so long, and I've been, okay, now. That's between you and God. I know what God has shown me. I know in my first dream, that one dream with my husband. I remember I had multiple dreams with my husband. I had a dream that my husband apologized to me for what he has done. And he said that his father forced him to do it. I had a dream that my husband apologized to me. I had a dream that I wanted to be intimate with my husband, and I told him, well, since I can't be with nobody else, in the dream I knew that I could not be with anyone else. I remember, if y'all been following me for a minute, y'all remember I had that dream of that other woman. I was screaming at this chick. She had a broom in her hand. I don't know if that broom meant she was a witch, but she was in there sweeping the bathroom. And I was screaming at her, and she couldn't see me. She could not see me. But in the dream, I was screaming at her, and I was like, you're messing with a married man, and you should know better. You're messing with a married man. And when I was trying to lift my husband up in the dream, he was limp. Like he wasn't there. Like his mind, he was just real limp. Like, even while she was there, he was real limp. Like spiritually, he was in a place of limbo. But anyway, I had that dream last night, and I said he loves her very much. I didn't, in the dream, I didn't say serves you right for divorcing her and coming back. You should have known you had a good wife. I just said he loves her very much. Very much. Sorry, y'all. My phone is breaking in and out. I'm gonna tell you something. Even on applications, it don't matter where you go. You can go to the doctor's office. They got these. They ask you these questions: single, married, divorced, or separated, or widow. What the heck? It's like you're gonna always go through life with that. Something is always going to remind you. You know you're married, right? And it is true. The bill of divorce that they gave back then is the same today. That's all. It is a bill. It is not you're no longer. The Bible doesn't say once the man gives you a bill of divorce, you're no longer one, you are now two. It don't say that. Some people say, I don't care what anybody say. I got my bill of divorce and I'm divorced here. Yeah, okay. All right. I got a conscience. I know if I'm out here dating somebody, in the back of my mind, in the front of my face, I'm like, I know I'm still bound to this person because he's still alive. I mean, if I go out here and sin, I'm just like I'm sinning because I'm really not supposed to be with someone else. And that's vice versa. Somebody try to holler at me. You ever been married before? Yeah. You see your wife still living? Yeah. Notice how you say your wife's still living? My ex-wife. Even with ex-wife, that's still authority behind that. Ex-girlfriend, ex-friend is totally different from ex-wife. All that's saying is that you put some paper on top of that, but she's still your wife. She's still living. Your wife. She's still living. Now, if she was married, what does that mean? What does that mean, ex-wife? You used to be on paper with this person, but now you have paper saying that you're no longer on paper with them again. But God said, what he has joined together, let no man separate. Yeah, okay. And I have asked myself this question. Well, if you would have asked me 3 years ago, will my ex-husband come back? I probably would pull money up. You could take my arms. I know he's gonna come back now. He'll come back. I don't know. Some people are ashamed. Some people are afraid. And some people find that life is just the way they want it without having to face the consequences, or they will go through life and ignore. That's why you gotta be very careful who you marry. And just like that woman who cried out and said, please pray with me because my husband is giving me a divorce. There are a lot of relationships out here where one spouse initiated the divorce proceeding. They gave them the bill of divorce. And some people like myself fought against divorce. But it is very true what the Bible says. A house that is divided is just not going to stand. I couldn't, my battle, I was fighting against my in-laws, the attorneys, and the one person who was supposed to be fighting to protect me was my husband. If I'm fighting against my husband, there is no way that this house is going to stand. He is the head of the house. If I'm fighting against him to fight against our divorce, I need him to stand. If he cannot do that, if you cannot stand for yourself and your house and your children against any and everything, including your parents, that you left to become one with me, then this is a losing game here. And remember, I asked the Lord, I said, Lord, what does it mean when you put away your wife? Like, I don't get it. And the Lord showed me to send her away. And that's exactly what my husband did. You sent me away. You sent me off out of our house. And you did it in such a way, strategically, through the counsel of an evil man that you call your father. And you're going to be held accountable. God is going to hold you accountable for that. But anyway, not too many women can be like, yeah, my husband put me away. But anyway, y'all, going to this dream, he divorced his wife, but he came back, and I saw this man, and I said, he loves his wife. He really loves her. So that was my dream. Y'all have a blessed day. I'm about to go up here in this JOB, get these coins real quick. I will speak to y'all later.